The 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is Universal.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
All right, I got to tell one last quick story that made
This
my
is it,
weekend.
the one and last one. Huh?
Yes, this is the final story
Okay.
of the season. As you know, baseball season ended for many of us yesterday. Yours will continue on.
Yes.
The New York Metropolitans were playing the Atlanta Braves. Now imagine, if you will, that you were a betting man. And imagine if the over-under in Vegas that they set your team at was, say, 85 and a half. Okay, so say it's 85 and a half, all right? And imagine if you go into the weekend with 83 wins. But imagine if that team that you're rooting for is the New York Mets, who always break your heart. Well, on Friday, Pete Alonso hits a home run. On Saturday, Pete Alonso hits a home run. And suddenly they've won the two games, which is just setting you up for a knife in the heart.
So
but
you need this win on Sunday.
you have to win the final
over.
game to hit the over. That Vegas nailed it to the T.
Boy, they
85 and a half.
That's amazing.
And you have 85 wins going into Sunday. And you have a lot of shekels down on this. You want to
blow the lead first.
Yeah, you want to this is
want to
like,
cash this $1 million bet.
You're going to have to sell your house if you lose the game.
Wow.
So
what time are you flying to Vegas to pick up the winnings?
And understand this also. Understand how much blood, sweat, and tears you've put into a baseball season, as you would understand that.
Well, apparently, according to the Googans, you put in about a month and a half.
Correct. So you watch the game, and it's 3-1 Mets, and you're like, okay, great. And then, of course, Thor, who has been a thorn in your side all season, gives up a 2-run homer to some guy you've never heard of named Rafael Ortega. And, yeah, you're sort of following this game. Many of you are all delved into football. So just bear with me for a second. It's 3-3. And in the bottom of the eighth, your guy hits a home run to make it 4-3. Well, they've already shut down your only good relief pitcher for the year, so you know what's going to happen. You know you're going to get kicked square in the giblets in the ninth, and sure enough,
that's too bad. Not
only does you get kicked, but it happens to be by Adeiny Echeverria, who was on your team earlier this year and seems to hate your ball club.
Hit a game-tying homer in the ninth.
It's a game-tying homer in the ninth.
He's been a nice pickup for us.
So then you blow one, you blow chances, and you're in the 11th, and in the top of the 11th, guess what? Adeiny Echeverria hits another one. And then just to add spice to it, another guy comes up and hits another one, and it's 6-4.
Duval.
And so now you shut it off, and you're done, and you're not even paying attention.
You missed a good comeback for him.
And you glance over. You're there watching the Jags game, but you click on your computer, and you see first and second with one out. But you also see a guy named Rene Rivera's up. So you're dog cussing, by the way, your manager, because he doesn't care about the game, but you do because your life savings are on the line. And so it comes down to there's 2 outs, and they trot up a guy who hasn't had an at-bat since July. Not an at-bat, not one. He's been hurt since July, and he worked hard to get back because he wanted to play, and so he's eligible, and he comes up, and on the first swing since July, he hits a walk-off 3-run home run, and somehow, some way, you are able to maintain and hit the over. So there you have it. That's the final baseball story of the season. Thank you very much, and shout out to Pete Alonso, who should be the guest picker at College Game Day today if they're smart.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, if they're smart, Pete Alonso would be the guy. You can't go. Spurrier and Werfel and Tebow are great, but you can't do those guys. Pete Alonso would be the pick, right?
That's some sure.
College Game Day coming to Gainesville this week. If you don't know and haven't heard,
the Gators,
first time since 2012.
The Gators are going to get a reality check when Auburn's defensive line comes to town.
Yes.
Florida's offensive line is atrocious, and it's annoying the crud out of me, and it's giving me a stark reality that it's going to take something to get to double-digit wins. By the way, I've had some people wondering about the Braves' schedule.
Yes.
They haven't announced the game time yet. Game 1 is Thursday in Atlanta. Game 2 is Friday in Atlanta, but so far only the wild card game times have been announced.
Right.
The Thursdays
and Fridays
NLDS.
Thursdays and Fridays of the baseball playoffs are fun because you get lots of those games, like 4 games in one day.
So the Braves
Cardinals won't be the marquee game. There'll be a lot more of Astros and Yankees as marquee games, but the Braves Cardinals will get a decent time slot. Yeah, and the Dodgers too.
As I always tend to return to this time of year. Brutally sure that we'll lose the first series to the Cardinals, and that'll end. So we'll see. Hopefully not. I always get a little nervous when you stop trying at the end. You lose 4 or 5 games in a row. It always gives you this sense of unease. So
these are sports
we'll see.
concepts and rationalizations. We call it the 10-minute drill. Beef, do we have a prize pack to give away here in a couple of minutes?
You're darn tootin', Rasputin. At the end of the 10-minute drill, we'll throw one lucky Guggen, some free parking from our friends at usapark.net, satisfied customers across the board, and lunch or dinner for two from Chick-fil-A.
Dan, we haven't had a lot of Jags get the ball down, down one. What do they do? Moments in the history of this franchise.
No.
I mean, most games seem like they're, pretty well decided. We've had a few, but, what Gardner Minshew did in that situation in an early season where he just continues to impress was the most impressive of the things he's done so far.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Gardner Minshew writes a different chapter to his book every week, and that's been a great thing. And no one's sure how long it'll last. I mean, we've kind of determined that, if you do it for a little more than a year, you're sort of established as a quarterback. It's hard to, that you start to see the things. And the kid has a lot of the it factor that you look for and that you found. And as a 6th-round pick, for the Jaguars to stumble upon somebody who has this kind of moxie and play and smarts and accuracy has been so refreshing. And what a shot in the arm for a franchise that has needed it so desperately.
Unexpected.
Right.
I mean,
out of the blue.
Usually,
and Marone said that yesterday. He said, listen, there's not a guy in this room who thought after watching the preseason we were going to be fine with Gardner Minshew. I know I didn't.
Said the right things.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So, and
that's just
and
another.
he even said this, I have to rethink preseason now because, he never got to play with the ones, so the whole thought of, well, now that he's with the ones, look at how he's done. So it's an incredible situation and one that has allowed the Jaguars to
amazing
move
to
into
me,
first.
The disconnect between athletes and and the opportunities they get and what they actually are. I mean, obviously Gardner Minshew could have or should have been quarterbacking at Clemson or Florida or Alabama or anywhere in college football.
No
Instead,
question.
he's bouncing around these little outposts. I mean, this guy went to Outpost, Dan.
Yeah.
This guy is the Outpost kid in college, East Carolina.
And because of
Troy, Washington State.
One thing and one thing only, right? Size.
I guess.
I mean, what else?
They say he doesn't have the strongest arm. I've yet to see him not get the ball there, so I don't know what that means. He can't throw it 80 yards in the air. Oh, well, that was a rope that he threw to Chark yesterday that got called back.
Yeah.
We're not even talked about that.
Yeah.
That was a great throw.
Oh.
The guy just puts it on the money, but it's more than anything. It's that,
And by the way, if they didn't
composure.
pass interfere with Chark, that one might have been a touchdown too.
Yeah.
So DJ might have had two. He definitely had one taken away. He might have had two. So
and Lofton made a great point. There was a play early in the game where Conley stopped running. He did a fly pattern down the right. I almost think it would have hit him in stride if he'd have kept running.
Yeah, that was odd as well. So really, it's. I mean, just embrace it, Jacksonville. Run with Minshew mania. It's been fantastic. All right, other things that have happened around the world. Clemson escapes. I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you want to crown anybody champion of the world. Every college team will have one game every year where they got either.
Did
Clemson
have one last year?
Sure, they did. Syracuse.
That was last year. Or that was 2 years ago.
No, that was last year where they won, but they had
the
backup
the quarterback came in. That's
on
right.
Fourth
Sure.
down, complete a pass, and Carolina did the right thing going for. It's so funny though.
When
it doesn't work though, it's because
it never works.
When it does,
it never works.
When the play doesn't work, it's love the call. No, love going for it, hate the play call. I always get that.
It drives me nuts that these coaches take 60 minutes of hard work by their team and throw it all away for a 2-yard play.
Yeah.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
Would any coach at any time in a game when he had 3rd and 2 say, all right, coach, convert here and you win, don't you lose? Will you take it?
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't. No, I got game to play, he would say. I can't put it all. Yet you get to the end of the game and you do it that way? No, Mac Brown. Kick the extra point, go to overtime, and take your chances. We saw Marone, as it turned out, was not the decision. Denver made the same mistake and, would have missed had it not called back.
The NFL is crazy. I'll give you another quick example.
There's a few.
Okay, so let's and how it relates to Jacksonville, the Minnesota Vikings. Here are the Minnesota Vikings who, are supposed to have a really good football team, okay? But their coach is hell-bent on running the football. And yet they paid Kirk Cousins all this money, and all he does is fumble. They paid Stephon Diggs all this money. They paid Adam Thielen all this money. And they're 31st in passing yards and 32nd in passing first downs per game.
Those are two good receivers and a good quarterback. How,
I don't know. And yet they had a coordinator there named John DeFilippo, and this is how it relates to Jacksonville, named John DeFilippo, who they fired last year because he wasn't running enough. And I've watched John DeFilippo here. He's a breath of fresh air.
Oh, you think?
I mean, that play design for the touchdown to O'Shaughnessy was tremendous yesterday. And by the way, O'Shaughnessy, this hasn't happened before. And if they had a close-up, you would have seen it. He actually literally got the snot bubbles knocked out of him on one play.
I'm glad
Did you
I
see
missed
that? Did you see that?
When he got the wind knocked out of him? Was it that play?
Yeah.
I missed the snot bubbles. I'm glad that I did.
The snot bubbles came actually out of his nostrils, and that would be getting the snot bubble knocked out of you. But anyway, he did come back to make a touchdown catch on a beautiful play design. And so DeFilippo seems to have a good rhythm with Minshew, and it's a little odd because DeFilippo, one of the reasons DeFilippo was brought in here was because of Nick Foles, right? But it's worked out.
Well, and they can probably stand and have great conversation on the sideline during the games.
In the NFL, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and John DeFilippo has been a treasure so far for the Jacksonville
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
And he was for the Eagles, too. It did not work in Minnesota, though.
Right.
You're dead right on that. Let me hit the local college teams here real quickly with some observations. I don't know what changes were made. I don't know if FSU just set the alarm, the defensive side of the ball set the alarm clock for late September instead of late August, but FSU's defense is playing a lot better, and that's why they're in and now winning some football games.
Well, the only thing you can say
they had to have a win against NC State Saturday night.
They did, and listen, enjoy the win. It's been a long time since FSU was at least trending up, so that's a positive for FSU fan. And I think the difference, and I don't know this because I'm not around the program, but the only thing that's changed is Jim Leavitt. So they brought in Jim Leavitt, and he may have helped somehow. Jim Leavitt knows what he's doing as a defensive guy. Jim Leavitt has helped at least get this defense going a little bit. Hornibrook had a good game. Listen, they got Clemson, and they're off this week, and they have Clemson in 2 weeks. I'm not expecting them to win that game in Death Valley. They will fall to 3-3. The key for them is the following week they got Wake Forest, who's really pretty good.
They're undefeated.
Yeah, they've got to find a way to beat Wake Forest, and if they
it's
do,
at Wake. So.
Yeah, if they do, then they're 4-3, and they'll go to a bowl game. They can still go to a bowl game at 3-4 because they have Alabama State and Syracuse and Boston College and Florida left on their schedule. But
I thought that was kind of a tipping point game against NC State.
Yeah, it was a game they
Goes
had to
wrong
have.
If they lose that,
and they did. Yeah,
and in Gainesville, Auburn comes to town this week, and unless Florida's offensive line takes a couple cycles of steroids, I just don't see how this ends well.
Well, here's why I think that Dan Mullen's got him right where he wants him right now in this respect.
He got in their ear after this one.
Well, yeah, and they're 5-0, but they've accomplished nothing, and nobody thinks, and all they hear is negative things about him, like it's not good enough, it's not good enough. And
Notre Dame jumped them in the top 10. Did you see that?
Yeah, and teams are it's a good situation to be 5-0 and be like that.
If you're talented enough to win.
If you're talented enough to win. I will say the story to me is Kyle Trask, who set a school record at 18 completions. If you set a school record as a quarterback at Florida, that's saying a lot.
That's fair.
He's accuracy obviously is very high. It's almost 80%. And if you took his quarterback rating, he'd be in the top 15 in the country. I looked yesterday, so it's like 175 or something along those lines. So
what they can protect, he can pass.
Yeah,
can they? That's a question, and they're not running the ball at all.
I think the fact that Auburn. That everybody now is sitting here thinking Auburn's going to beat Florida is an okay thing for Florida right now. It sort of reminds me a little bit of LSU a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's in the swamp, which will be packed. It'll be the way it's supposed to be, not like this past Saturday. And college football will be the focal point in Gainesville on Saturday as game day comes to town. So they'll be revved up. It doesn't always work that way, but I think Florida's in a good position.
Well, they are.
What's the line?
They're being
the early line. Beef, have you seen it? I don't know what it is. I would say Auburn might be favored by 3 or 4 points, but
let me see. I will say this: Florida. Some teams like to be that team that no one is. No line yet.
No line.
Florida though is that team that is being quote unquote can play the quote unquote disrespect card.
Yeah.
I mean, they've started the season, they're 5-0,
Sure.
and their ranking is now lower than when they started the season.
It's okay.
I'm seeing the
And, like, I have
Vegas odds to go to the playoff, and
Yeah.
there's 10 teams, and they're not one of them.
Right.
So
It's like my son asked me, Dad, I can't believe. I said, it doesn't matter.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
If they win their games, they'll be in.
That's
Don't
correct.
worry about it.
Yeah, and in fact, if they beat Auburn this week, they'll probably jump into the top 5.
All right.
Close to it.
Beef, let's do caller number 3, 641-1010. Tell them what the prize pack is as we go to break. We'll come back. Friday 5-pack results and the rest right here on The Drill.
Yeah, one lucky Guggen, caller number 3 right now is going to take home a prize pack featuring parking from our friends at usapark.net out at the airport and some lunch or dinner of their choosing for 2 at Chick-fil-A. 641-1010, be caller number 3 right now.